Be careful. You might learn something.
Let's go.
You are now tuned in to the Factual Opinions Podcast with your hosts. I am Pharaoh. Straight facts.
What's up, world? This is your humble and gracious host. I am Pharaoh, checking in with the Brown, Bruce Wayne, Big John.
Yes, sir.
And a special guest today. I've been trying to get him on here for a long time, but he don't mess with me like that.
Man, here we go.
we got the Brown, Bruce Wayne's big brother, my big brother,
man.
Calvin Hill in the house today.
What up with it, fellas?
Yes, sir.
So, happy to have you on, brother. So
Appreciate
this
it.
is season 6, episode 4. We're calling it Intro because Big John came up with a topic that I thought was really dope, and we want to talk about our favorite intros and introductions, whether it be your favorite WWE superstars intro that got you hyped back in the day, your favorite sports team intro, hell, even your favorite TV show intro from back in the day to make you feel nostalgic, and a few other topics that we want to get into. But first and foremost, I want to give a big shout out to the Lakers organization, which is in transition right now. As we know, the Buss family sold the Los Angeles Lakers. The unthinkable happened, so there's been a lot of transition going on out there. But they did immortalize the great Pat Riley this weekend, finally, by unveiling his statue. Of course, he led the team to multiple championships as a head coach, won a championship as a player for the Lakers in 1972. We know how legendary he is to the sport in general. He won a championship as a player, as an assistant coach, head coach, and an executive with the Miami Heat later on in his career. So we couldn't quite beat Boston to put the icing on the cake, which would have been nice. But want to give a shout out to Riles for finally getting his statue out there.
Should have been happened, but better late than never.
Yeah, better late than never.
And it was funny. I don't know if you saw the clip where he was talking about fining his players for not wearing the tie to the enshrinement. So that's typical Ryle, staying hardcore old school with it. But no, man, nobody really encompassed more other than Magic himself. And we had legendary players part of that group other than Pat Riley, the leader of the Showtime with the Armani suit and the slick back. Everything played up to that Showtime image was Pat Riley. So really happy for him. But we got a lot going on. Before we get into the intro thing, we'll go on and talk Bengals and NFL since the NFL Combine is underway. I wanted to have Brother Cal on here for this episode anyway because another great football mind. And let's get right into this because a lot of times with the Bengals, there's a lot of debate. Sometimes it seems like my beloved Bengals get their rocks off by doing the exact opposite of what public opinion says they should probably do. But there's going to be a lot of good players, and we're specifically talking about the defensive side of the ball, available still at 10. So it's almost like you can't go wrong. But let me throw this out here because I came up with a list, and then I'll let you guys comment and see what you think. So my perspective, and this is partially to cut down on potential frustration, was, well, who would you not be upset with the Bengals picking at number 10? The only player that I said I really don't see or don't want at that position is Woods, the defensive tackle from Clemson. But I could see him still being in the mix for the Bengals. But right now, obviously the pipe dream is somehow Reuben Bain falls to you at number 10. Don't think he'll be there at number 10. I think he played himself into, top 5, top 6 pick. I saw some scouts, Cal, talking about his short arms and being more of a thicker built defensive end versus the long, lean Javon Curse type. Well, this is how people get themselves in trouble. And normally on here, I don't single out players, but this is how you draft a Shamar Stewart. You get to worrying about stuff like the semantics and does he look good? Does he have his armbands on, as Coach said from Coastal Carolina?
Right.
It's like the eye in the sky don't lie.
Never.
And when it comes to an edge rusher, the main thing is getting to the quarterback. period, point blank. So Ruben Bain falling right there. Cal mentioned Sonny Styles being interviewed by the Bengals, one of the top linebackers. I doubt Arvell Reese will be there at
No.
10. The other question, obviously, most people, and this is conventional wisdom, most people want Caleb Downs at number 10 for the Cincinnati Bengals. Is there anybody you guys, if you just had your first priority pick and you could be in Duke Tobin's ear right now, or should we say Mr. Brown or Katie's ear right now, that you would want? Like, if he's available at 10, who would you want, starting with Cal?
Well, man, you can't teach size and you can't teach speed. Sonny Styles, man. Being a defensive guy, being a linebacker myself at one point in time, years and years ago, Sonny Styles, man, you cannot get around that size and that speed. Playing safety, coming up in the box now, he's like reincarnated Brian Urlacher, but he really reminds me of Brian Simmons. So if Caleb Downs is gone, Sonny Styles is my guy at 10.
Big John.
It's crazy because, like I said, we go back and forth with the whole Ohio State thing, but really, we know the Bengals do not value safeties, and every time they do get a good safety, it's a mistake. Like Madieu Williams, they got Madieu Williams eat on some buyback money type stuff, and so it really wasn't
with that extra second round pick from trading Corey Dillon.
So it really, and he really outplayed what they thought he was going to do because Madieu Williams say they behind on many occasions, and all the other good safeties we either
Jesse Bates was a second round pick.
Right. We either got lower in the draft or we got from free agency or we got guys that were past their primes. But I like Caleb Downs if they do decide to do that. I would say get a front end guy like Ruben, like Bain, but like you said, he probably won't drop down to 10. But if he does, I even like 3. I even like Mesidor on the other side. Now, is he a first round guy? He's kind of like first, second, third, maybe. But Mesidor can still ball. They was bookends for a reason. And actually, Mesidor had more sacks than Bain, but that's because Bain was on the other side. But yeah, it's either Downs or Bain for me, man. But I don't think Bain will last that long. And the only reason why Downs may last that long because he is a safety, and how many teams actually need a safety right now.
I've seen in a lot of these mock drafts where Sonny Styles is starting to be, shall we say, the sexy pick for the Bengals or under the radar pick, because I still have a lot of faith in, for whatever reason, Demetrius Knight. I still think he's going to end up being a solid player. I'm not thrown off by a rookie linebacker occasionally being out of position or not seeing his keys. I didn't see anything that would throw me off to think that he won't be productive. Barrett Carter is a little bit more of a developmental prospect still. I think that's why they would be considering a Sonny Styles or a linebacker like that. Arvell Reese is in the conversation, especially if he comes out and runs well, 4.5, 4.6. He might be top 3,
which he probably will.
So I'm not even considering him being available.
What's crazy is they just unless you get the best player available, their whole draft class needs to be defense. And the crazy thing about it is this is the first time in a long time where on every level we need a dog. Meaning, like for the past 8 years, defensive line's been straight. Linebackers kind of been middle of the road. We always need the help in the secondary because somebody ain't living up to what they need to do. But they need a dog on every level. So anybody they get that's a dog, whether it's a linebacker position, front end, because the 2 last draft picks on the front end have not lived up to expectations. Stewart, I don't think will. And your boy from Clemson finally got a little bit better.
Yeah.
Miles Murphy finally got to show some flashes. But we need a dog on every level right now. So whether you get DB, secondary, linebacking core, something.
They got to get lucky. They got to get Marvin Lewis draft lucky right now. They got to start finding the guys.
Now you asking for a lot now, Cal.
Man, I'm just saying, man. Marvin. That's the one thing that we took for granted as Bengals fans and football guys, how well he actually drafted. Like, he drafted really, really well. And right now, since he is not getting lucky with finding those guys, that Marvin was able to find, like a Jonathan Joseph that we didn't even have on the radar when they drafted him. Because then, and I'm outdating myself, but Jimmy Williams was my guy, 6'4" corner out of Virginia Tech, and they completely bypassed him and got Jonathan Joseph and ended up being a great pick. So the Bengals got to get lucky.
You know, me and Jeff talk about that all the time. The Jonathan Joseph pick was one that I was definitely wrong on because he came out of nowhere, and I'm like, who? Because at the time, I actually had a different pick than you, Cal. I wanted them to draft Mercedes Lewis, the tight end out of UCLA, and just make it a super offense because you had.
He would have still been playing now.
Yeah, because I mean, at the time, you had Chads, you had Hush, you had Slim, aka Chris Henry, out there. We didn't know if P Dub was coming back or not off his injury. I was like, man, just make it a juggernaut. Just go ahead and draft Mercedes
playmaking tight end.
Yep. Yeah, but it ended up being a great pick, and we had one of the better duos in the NFL for a few seasons with Leon Hall and Jonathan Joseph when he came into play. But you really spoke on something. Marvin didn't get a lot of credit until after the fact. He really didn't miss unless a guy got hurt or off the field stuff. You know, there was the Abwegi Jake Fisher, catastrophes that kind of sealed his fate on the way out, which were meant to be the replacements for Whitworth and Andre on the offensive line that didn't work out. But more often than not, Marvin did his homework, and he's a football guy. So there's certain stuff that analytics and stuff are never going to be able to teach. It takes one to know one, and to know when you have a good prospect. So I think what we're also going to have to get lucky on that you mentioned is we're going to have to, and he said it at the podium, speaking of director of player personnel, Duke Tobin, they're going to be aggressive in free agency. Now, we've heard that before.
Yep.
Man. All I'm saying is it's not all going to be done through the draft. I mean, you can't. No team really builds solely through the draft anymore. You have to get lucky. You have to do what we did in 2021. You got to find those diamond in the rough, because that free agent class that we brought in, even the year before when they got DJ Reader, was crazy good. People knew of him, but I don't think people knew that he was going to be the dominant force that he was in the middle. You get a Larry Ogunjobi, even though he was only here for 1 year before he got hurt, was
I loved
killing
him when he was here.
Yeah.
And
Mike Hilton was probably the most underrated piece to me of that class. Easily the best slot corner in the league for a good 2-3 year.
Easily.
Man. Trey Hendrickson, there were questions about him. Was he getting all those sacks because he was playing on the other side of Cam Jordan down there in New Orleans, and came here and proved that to be wrong. So I don't know that you hit on all of those type of players, but that's what you had to be looking for if you're the Bengals. And those guys are out there. You just have to do your homework and find them.
Right.
Obviously, when I've seen some scenarios where people are talking about Max Crosby and all this other stuff. It's like, okay, that's not gonna happen, folks. We couldn't get Hendrickson his money, and that was a hassle doing that. They're not gonna trade for Max Crosby and give up the capital necessary to do that, and then the type of money, unless you were just trying to go all in for 1 year.
Yep, that's what I was about to say. The thing is, Mike Brown has never been, from what our experiences have shown, throughout the years, he's not trading draft picks. I think the Raiders would accept picks, but I would like Crosby because it's a sexy pickup, so to speak. He fits the part, but I don't think the Mike Brown or the Bengals organization is willing to give up that type of draft capital. Maybe do a trade and sign, like, hey, this was going on. It would really look good on paper. On paper, it would look excellent, but it may be very hard to come by.
I wouldn't give up draft picks because we need them. There's too many holes. Even if you get Max Crosby and you replace a Henderson and you get that and you get the same output, you still have holes. You have holes on your linebacking core. You have the defensive line ain't been up to par. You still have holes on the back end. Then you got to worry about offense.
Yeah.
Two, are we going to get better on offensive line? It's too many
Right.
holes.
Sorry to cut you off, John, but no, here's the thing though. When you get two bookends, which we've seen in the previous years being Bengal fans, if you have a left great defensive end, a great right defensive end, and something of anything coming up the middle pushing, that makes everything in the back end better. So you can have maybe a misfire somewhere at a linebacker one, not two, but one, and then you have to figure out what's going on with Dax Hill. But if that front four is getting to, it makes everything better on the back end. We know that from being football guys. The front of everything, offense and defensive line, they take the pressure off everybody.
Yeah. Another name that I saw even Jamar Chase and T. Higgins throw out there was Jeffrey Simmons from Tennessee.
I would love it. I would love
it.
That
That would really work. I know it would.
I wouldn't hate it.
I would love it. That would be Geno Atkins, Petco-ish reincarnated in one guy.
Right.
Yeah. But again, what do you have to give up to make that scenario happen?
Yep.
I don't know that it's going to be one guy. I saw another article that were talking about what the Bengals could realistically do, because you're not going to replace Trey Hendrickson, not with one player. But they were talking about people like Seattle who did it with, let's say, 7-7-7. You have a bunch of guys who will get you between 5 to 7 sacks and equal the production of Trey giving you 17 and a half. It could work, but you have to hit on those draft picks and free agent selections that you make. And that's the thing. The Bengals are in a position, which is why I had an issue with the pick last year, with what we've invested on offense and the time window remaining.
Yeah.
We can't afford developmental prospects or what ifs. Like, we need solidified guys where even if it's just solid, you know what you're getting. Say Big John, Big Pimpin' over there.
That was a bill collector, nigga. That was
what he said.
I need my money on time.
Right now, 8 o'clock.
I got it. They get it when I got
it. Not 10:02, not 10:03.
Right, I need it now.
But no, seriously, I think that's why I was highlighting like who we would want, who would fall there, because particularly with that first round, I think that's what set the Bengals back the past few years, is not getting that bona fide production right away from a first round draft pick. Right. Even if you don't come in and be a star, we got to get more than we have been getting the past few years out of first round draft. This is not, and it's funny saying this with the talent that we have on this team, this is not the Marvin Lewis we can afford to redshirt a guy for a year or two.
Nope.
Like, you got to come in and pull your weight right away, or it's going to be a setback.
And everything you saying is true, because we don't have a football savant Marvin type guy in there. You already said we have the smallest recruiting room, one of the smallest recruiting rooms in the league.
Man.
You have to make your think trust bigger. Bring somebody in, do some more homework. You got to figure out something, because you keep hitting these swing and misses. That ain't helping.
No, not at all.
Well, I've already stated many times, and I'm going to do it at some point this episode, the brain thrust and the winning presidential ticket that I wanted. I wanted that guy from up the road who went to the University of Dayton, had that head coaching experience out there in Oakland and Tampa Bay, and I wanted to combine that with my guy Louis Riddick in the front office, or worst case scenario, bring back the great Marvin Lewis. We just talked about his prowess in the draft and what he could do in the front office with selected players. But okay, may not be realistic. Let's talk Duke Tobin. I don't think it's that hard. I don't really, and I'm gonna knock on wood when I say this, I don't really think they can screw this number 10 pickup. I really don't.
I don't think so.
Because even if they got Woods, I would understand. It just wouldn't be my number 10 pick.
Yeah.
And even that depends on who's there at the time.
Yeah. It's really tough right now, man, to go into Clemson and get somebody, because Miles Murphy was so much of a letdown to like the last 6 games of last year. He had been non-existent. So to go into Clemson to try to get another defensive lineman, man, that's you asking a lot. Like that
and
was
this is not Dabo firing on all cylinders for the
yeah,
middle
not at
of
all.
last
This
decade.
this
This
ain't
is
like
not.
the Daquan Bowers guys and all
Nah,
them.
this is you are not getting the Wilkinson. You're not
Man.
Wilkins. You're not getting them guys right
Not
now.
getting the
Yeah.
Dexter Lawrence.
Not at all.
Sexy
So
Dex.
man, it's tough right now.
Well, I'm looking at it and I'm trying not to be biased because I know people will say, well, of course, Al's good. Look, Mel Kiper had 4 or 5 Buckeyes going in the top 10.
Mm-hmm.
And as I've said, jokingly but seriously, the last time we had a roster that was littered with Buckeyes here, we wound up going to a Super Bowl and an AFC championship after.
Yep.
When we started venturing out and drafting from that team up north, well, I won't go there, but at the end of the day, there's a lot of good picks available for the. I think honestly, in the first 3 rounds, the Bengals can fill some holes and some guys that you would expect to come in right away. What we can't have is another Burton situation.
No.
Swing it and miss on that. Mail it out. He said right out the bat, Shawn Michaels. Hey, you know what? We're gonna transition on that note. Let's go ahead and do it. You know what? Because this intro thing, when Big John brought it up last week, I said, man, that's a dope idea. I said, I really want to talk about that. So I watched the Royal Rumble. Didn't quite have the same feel, and I don't really watch wrestling anymore, but I wanted to watch it to see if I could have some of that nostalgic feel. And that's the whole point. And some of these wrestlers, they're talented, athletic-wise, and I'm talking male and female, but they don't have that swagger and that bravado that we grew up watching with professional wrestling. And maybe that's unfair because we have some characters.
Yeah, and it was crazy. I was rapping with one of my principals, man. Scott Shepard, man. He loved wrestling too. And we was talking about that too. I said, man, the last generation of wrestlers I actually paid attention to was the John Cena, Randy Orton, Batista, Brock Lesnar. That was like the last generation I paid attention to. Everybody after that, I know Roman Reigns, I know a couple guys, but I don't really watch it no more. Like I said, after Cena and Orton, it was like done for me.
So who is it, Big John? If you had to pick that one person that always had you on the edge of the seat, their theme music. Don't give me the Michael Eric Dyson answer.
No. I prepared for this when I thought we was doing the top 5, but I'll say my one, and it's crazy if people go laugh, but Triple H's The Game. Like, and the reason why I picked that one, man, because when he changed his song was when he hurt his neck. He was out for a year. So when that beat dropped and the screen and the whole arena went green, people went crazy. He came out so hype, he almost fell off the stage. Like, and then he had put on like 40 pounds of muscle. He had that big ass jean jacket on. He couldn't even put his arms down. Man, that was just dope, man. And the fact that he came back from a neck injury that could possibly end his career, man, I thought that was dope. And I love the song too. I still work out to it. So.
Mel said, hell no, they don't, bro. I stopped watching wrestling 5 years.
Right. So I actually had a top 5 ready for you, but if I could pick my one, it would be the Triple H.
Well, go ahead and give me your top 5 since that's number 1, Triple H.
The 5th spot will be the D-Generation X intro period with everybody.
Are you ready?
Yeah, that would be my 5. Mm-hmm. 4 would be Chris Jericho's the Y2J, the Countdown.
That's 4?
Yeah, that's 4.
Well, you named 2 already, so that would be 3.
Oh no, Triple H will be 1. So okay. Triple H is 1 for me. So I started from the bottom up. So If I go back, so I already named the 1. 5 will be D-Generation X. 4 will be Chris Jericho. 3 would be Kane. And the number 2 was hard because there's so many that I could pick. But I'm going to go 2, and I know Alex going to laugh at this, man, because it really wasn't even a song. It was just a beat. But when you heard that glass break, and you see that bald head white dude walk down that aisle, you knew it was over.
That Texas rattlesnake, boy.
Texas rattlesnake.
Yeah, man. If I had an honorable mention, it would be Undertaker coming out on the bike, the Keep Rolling joint. Not the Dead Man. Even though I love the Dead Man, I like to keep rolling better a little bit.
I forgot what Taker they called him when he was doing that. Was it Dead Man?
American Badass.
American Badass Undertaker.
Mm-hmm.
So Cal, man, who was that wrestler's theme music that when it hit?
Man, so Big John kind of hit on a couple, man, that I really mess with, but I am going to outdate myself, man, and I'm showing my age, man. The $1 Million Man was live.
Ted DiBiase.
Ted DiBiase, that was live, man.
Like
That,
money,
right,
money, money,
that was my
money, money.
that was my guy as far as the intro when it was just cool. That was one. The Kane was always one of my favorites, man. That the mysterious, all the dark, the fire, and you ain't know who dude was for years after. Kane was dope. And Triple H, man, the game, man. I actually like that song. I work out to that song. It's a Motorhead song, all about the game, man. That and them really the three that I really mess with that get played for real. And I know we gonna go into like the other introductions, man, but yeah, that's them three is really it for real.
I think for me, and I was you talking to the world's biggest Bret the Hitman Hart fan, so I feel bad even putting this guy that I'm about to say in my top five. But it's something about, as Mel already said, when HBK, the showstopper, when that music hit, what he said, I know I'm cute.
I know.
Right.
I think I'm sexy. No,
Yeah.
but when that music hit, that meme that everybody got was Shaq screwed up his face. It was like that face you make with Shawn Michaels music. Yeah.
Right.
He would be in my top five. I think after that, at number four would definitely be Stone Cold. Or something about when that glass breaks that just changes everything, because you know Stone Cold about to come out and start talking his ish on the way to the ring. That would be number four. Number three. See, this is where it gets tough for me, but I would probably say the NWO when that theme song hit and Scott Hall get to coming out walking sideways.
My coworker said them too. That was funny.
When NWO hit, and then I would say DX at number two. And I'm sorry, man. I want to give an honorable mention to people like Ric Flair, especially it's the Nation Boy's birthday today, actually.
The music.
So happy birthday to Ric Flair. But number one, it's crazy. We already mentioned it. I'm sorry, when Y2J hit and he came out, man, and was just that the song and everything, and he made the opposite jump. Most people left WWF and went to WCW. He left WCW and came to and became, to me, more of a star in WWE than he was in WCW. So it definitely, I think Y2J at number one, but it's close because that NWA NWO, I said NWA NWO is I'm dating myself, but when that hit, and I want to elaborate on that, they forced WWF to go into the Attitude Era and produce some of our favorite stars like The Rock and Stone Cold and DX, because when the NWO hit, that was trend setting. And we could break it down and talk about the greatest groups or segs in wrestling history, but as far as the most impact, I think the NWO was the most impactful group ever in wrestling. I mean, it just completely changed the culture, and then you had three titans that pretty much never missed when they stepped out in the ring. And it's crazy, Kevin Nash is the only one left out of that group now.
Right.
That's like when we get to talking about our movies, which will transition into your favorite TV show intro. Some of these movies like Harlem Nights and Friday, going back watching it now almost hurt, don't it?
Right.
Man. Right.
First it was Harlem Nights. We was talking about who wasn't, around from that one anymore. But Friday has slowly caught up to Harlem Nights when you get to looking at that screen. Wow. But so we also grew up in an influential era in entertainment. TV shows during the 90s and 2000s were all that and then some. Big John, what was your favorite TV show intro? And I feel like I know who we could all say, or what show we could all say. I know what the most iconic and memorable was, but what did it for you?
And I think I know where you're going with it, because if I say one of the two or Big Three is easy, but really, who didn't know the Fresh Prince song, man? Who didn't know the Fresh Prince song? Like, that's easy. Or you could say the Family Matters song or whatever, man. But for me, it was probably either the Fresh Prince song. Now, if I go against the grain, just because I love the show, because how they used to cap on each other and mess with Pops, man. The Wayans Brothers intro was always had me weak, bro.
Which one though? Because they had several. You talking about the one where they had the Tribe Called Quest song?
You talk about with just the beat, or the one when they had the old lady get hit by the bus?
That was the electronic relaxation.
Okay. I like electronic relaxation, but the second one with the newer episodes, I actually like that beat. I don't know where that song is from, but that beat was dope. But the original,
now I know which one you're talking about.
But the original man, when they with the afros,
we're happy and we're singing.
It's like, man, that show was so underrated, man. It was so funny, bro. Like, yeah, man.
I think we all are privy, and that's the one I was alluding to, the Fresh Prince. Like, when it comes on, you automatically start singing it just because it's like I pulled. Like, you know what? I am going to go outside the box. It was annoying, but when it hit, even as a little kid, you was running to the TV show. The first Martin song.
Yeah.
Happy ending song.
Martin.
Right.
That was my show. Like, I love Martin. Which one did it for you, Big John?
Man, I'm gonna go a different route, man, because when this came on, man, you knew the day was kind of over and it was time to just shut it down. That damn MASH. That MASH man. The MASH came on, bro. You knew it was time to go to bed, time to lay it down. It was over. The day was gone. TV is about to get cut off. It is over.
And I think I'm showing my age, man, because actually, when I actually sat down and got past the intro and actually watched the show was actually
actually all right.
I couldn't get past that intro.
Man, the intro make you yawn off rip. That's crazy. I think about it now, ready to go to sleep. Every time that comes on, this is over. The day is done.
No disrespect, and I miss her, but it reminded me of being stranded at Aunt Bill's house. Watching that and Young and the Restless. Ding, ding, ding. When that song hit. But if I could throw two more in there, and this is definitely from childhood, the original All That song was dope with TLC.
Yeah.
And of course, my dude Coolio rapping Keenan and Kel.
Right.
When that one came on, I thought that was pretty dope. Sure. Now, do something that before we circle back to basketball that hasn't been done. And today is the 60th anniversary of Muhammad Ali, then Cassius Clay, winning the heavyweight title for the first time. Obviously, he became the first boxer in history to win the title 3 times, only eclipsed by Evander the Real Deal Holyfield, who won it 4 times. But I want to give a shout out to the champ. If you go to Factual Opinions IG page and Facebook pages, I posted various content and funny interviews leading up to the fight, the weigh-in. You know, he was an 8-1 underdog, but he told everybody who would listen what he was going to do to that big ugly bear.
Yeah.
And he wouldn't listen. Even drove his bus on the front lawn of Sonny Liston's house in Denver, Colorado, and wanted that big old bear to come outside.
Man, that's so...
He just wouldn't listen, Big John.
Nah.
He said, I predict somebody will die at ringside from shock. And he did shock the world. 8-1 underdog. The Louisville Lipids, they caught him, 22 years old, beat Sonny Liston. And then the next day shocked the world again by announcing that he had changed his name to Muhammad Ali and joined the Nation of Islam with Minister Malcolm, a.k.a. Brother Shabazz. So, I never forget that. Every February in the lead up to February 25th, I always post that because then he became the legend that we now know him as Muhammad Ali, and that was the signature moment. But moving on to something that we haven't talked about as much on here, We got Brewski in the house. He said,
My
"Man,
guy.
sure." Now, see,
Told you.
Y'all old. So it happened.
Brewski just old talking about that mash. Now, see, if I was to date myself, and this is gonna sound funny, there's two, and Big John definitely gonna laugh at one of these that I mentioned. First of all, the Mary Tyler Moore Show. Me and my mom used to watch that show, and that cat at the end that always meow. I just remember that from back in the day.
Hey man, I'm gonna give you a laugh, man. And because this was probably the wildest show that wasn't from our community as a culture, but Married with Children, bro.
Yeah.
Love and marriage.
Poke High's old Al Bundy, bro. That
Al
was
Bundy.
funny, bro.
And before I know we about to transition from this, man, but I'm gonna give you one that is kind of random, but you knew you had to catch it because you wanted to hear it. The X-Men theme.
Oh yeah.
The X-Men thing, man. When you was ready for it, like, all right, here we go. It's Saturday for real now.
Right.
Yeah, see, but I can do the old school Batman, and I'm talking about the Adam West Bam Pat Wow one. And Big John always laughs when I say this. One of my favorite TV shows of all time, when that guitar hit for Roseanne, I was in there.
It's crazy. As I got older, I can respect the show, and it was funny even as a kid. But
that show was hilarious.
Y'all, man, all these people coming out and talking about how much they love that show. I ain't know people love that show that much. That was crazy.
I couldn't even watch the Connors because I'm such a Roseanne head. And the Connors was a good show, but I'm so much of a traditionalist. I'm like, man, Roseanne's supposed to be in this. Now she ran her mouth in real life and got herself in trouble, but that's what was supposed to happen. Was Roseanne was supposed to be on there part 2, and they wrote her off. But musically, used to have introductions too. Our parents' generation, and they used to have them songs. The very beginning hit, and as Steve Harvey said, you just go crazy. Now, the longest intros in the world were the Shaft theme,
man,
and Papa Was a Rolling Stone. Man. You just wondered whether them songs was ever gonna start. As far as hip hop is concerned, I don't really have I do have a particular song, and I'll let you guys go before I say mine. I was more so thinking about guys or hip hop artists that delivered on the intro, because a lot of people, they would just have a skit or something short, but some people actually wanted to spit on their intro.
Yeah.
And Hove is one that has some iconic intros, as well as another guy that I don't think gets talked about enough, is I think Luda used to spit on a lot of his intros. But for you guys, do you have a specific song or intro that every time you hear the beginning of that song just does something for you?
I mean, yeah, but it's crazy. You said Jay-Z, if I had to pick one, it would be The Rulers Back. But I'm going to go with my guys, man, because it was a skit, then it went into the song. The Locks, When We Are the Streets, they had to skit at first, talk about, we hate the Locks, and this is that. And it went into, I can't say the name of the song because, may have young kids watching, but the FU
Big
song.
Billy from the Burbs always wanted to shout that out.
But that, man, you heard that song, man, and Jada having the first verse and setting the tone. I mean, that's the first CD I actually went out and bought with my own money when I was 12 years old. So that's always gonna be special to me. So
I'm gonna go a little new school, man. That Freddie versus Jason, Fab and Jada.
Ooh.
That Freddie versus Jason intro, the first song with the Jason music and the Freddie beat. They had an intro inside of the song. They had Freddie's music and Jason's music in it, so that was one of the livest intros I've heard, and that's fairly new to me, and I get played still in the whip. So yeah, man, that Freddie versus Jason, that was tough.
That was really good. I didn't even think about that one. But y'all know me, I'm gonna show my age, and I'm nostalgic. Y'all know what era I'm stuck in when it comes to hip hop. Now, I could be partial to myself and do the Death Row intro from the Chronic, like we always do about this time. But Not that one. I think Cassidy had a dope intro on the I'm a Hustler album where he was battling himself, the hustle versus the problem. That was pretty dope. But honestly, and I want to play it, but we don't have the rights to it. The intro to It's Dark and Hell is Hot.
Yeah.
With X is still my favorite. Dog. That's my man's in there.
That's my man's in there. Yep.
It's like, it's like that. DMX is fucking problem. That song, I think even Jay had a little excerpt about that when he was talking about the Hard Knock Life tour, when he would have to go after DMX, and he is like, y'all both saw that video where he's you know, it's like DMX is walking around, he's drinking something that looks like blood, and he's like, dum dum.
Right.
Man, I don't know if you see the other interview with Redman and Method Man, and they confirmed it. And Method Man was talking about, he said he had everybody crying. He said, I looked around, he said, I almost started crying. Right.
It's like, and then he says a prayer.
Right.
After. No, but I love that. I almost played it on here and said, man, hell with it if they try to take the episode down. But Miss Brother Earl on that. Honestly, so we wrap up the intro talk. I was thinking about certain movies too that had a good intro, but I brought it back to real life. I still think the greatest intro, and whether we talking about music, sports, what have you, the greatest intro is still the 90s Chicago Bulls.
Yeah.
That does it for me. Like, I still watch that when I'm at the gym. It's part of my playlist on YouTube. And I'm talking about both 3-peats. Yeah. I'm talking about John Paxson, and then I'm talking about Dennis Rodman in the second 3-peat. You know, so I still know the whole lineup. And Ray Clay, who they got rid of because he wanted to introduce Michael Jordan as Michael Jordan when he came back to Chicago. You know the way he did it, from North Carolina.
Yeah.
You know, so I still think the Chicago Bulls have the greatest intro of all time, just in general. But
I got one, man, I know. Sorry to cut you off, good brother. I got one, man. The Mariano Rivera, Enter the Sandman. He came out to close. That was tough. That was tough, man. That kind of the Bulls, Mario and Enter the Sandman. I still got that on play when I work out. So yeah, that was a tough intro. Coming in to close it down, you know, you hear that, man. You probably got a loss on the way.
The Sandman, other than that time in 2004 when Big Papi and them totally altered history, because you knew, like you said, when Mariano Rivera was coming in, it was a wrap.
Right, it's a wrap. Done deal.
Sandman didn't give it up. But since we on baseball, why didn't anybody mention Rick Wild Thing Vaughn?
Right. Man.
The only time that song was acceptable.
Right. You talk about sports, man. It's well, my U boys coming out to smoke is one. But if I had to pick, it would be Ray Lewis. It would be Ray Lewis coming out doing his little dance. And also, man, Weapon X, the boy from the Eagles, was crazy.
That was wild.
Him and Ray Lewis, Dawkins and Ray Lewis probably had the livest coming out for football players, man.
Definitely for football. Yeah. And I knew you was gonna slip that King somehow.
Hey, bro, you was an Ohio State guy. You wanted to run out of that smoke too, bro. Don't act like you did. With Uncle Luke and everybody, you want to come out of that smoke, bro.
Yeah, with Uncle Luke.
That's the other way to do it.
Yeah, that's the only way to do it, Jack.
And Nevin Shapiro and the rest of the OU gang.
All of them. Yeah, all of them.
He was talking about how much he hated Ohio State just before that game play. And I felt like, and I told Big John, I felt like all these old U fans that I hadn't seen for 2 decades coming out the woodwork. Because, you know, whenever somebody plays Ohio State, that's their Super Bowl. But it's like real Miami fans. I'm not talking about bandwagon fans. Real Miami fans, they wanted to reverse 0-2.
They did. They definitely did.
And I said that the players actually played with that type energy as if that's what they were trying to do. I felt like it just meant more to them. And by the time Ohio State locked in after pissing down their leg, it was just too late to match that intensity. But John's boys made a run. I wanted him to enjoy it while it happened, because the question is, can they make it consistent now?
Here's the thing, and I even said it while everything was going on. It doesn't matter if you don't win the last game. None of that matters, and they didn't. So yeah, it's cool to beat. We went through a couple of top teams in the playoff run, but it don't matter because we ain't win.
Nope.
Yeah, when Michael Irvin was out there stretching all weird on the field and taking off his belt.
Yeah, man, we got to tell Uncle to sit down somewhere.
Hey, man, who was that young man on Saturday Night Live that did the impression of Michael Irvin?
That was funny.
Hilarious.
Yeah, they got to tell Uncle
go back and go watch that, bro.
Yeah, and I was in bitter Buckeye fan mode, so I spared no expense the next day posting that pic of him, and like I said, he's still on that booger sugar, if you ask me.
Man, he's still in it cracking, man.
Well, what Martin say on that Christmas episode? Why is Rudolph's nose red? Because he's on that stuff.
He was on that stuff.
No, man. But switching over to hoop, because we haven't talked much about it this year. My beloved Bearcats did go into Lawrence, Kansas, something that rarely happens. They rarely lose it. What's it called? Allen Fieldhouse out there in Lawrence, and they put belt to what. It was pretty significant win. Wasn't really all that close.
No.
I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, because everybody knows how I feel about UC basketball and the love that I have for that. That's been the majority of the guests that we've had on this, show, where UC basketball legends. I just try to keep things in perspective, and I know that barring them winning the Big 12 championship, in the conference tournament, they're not going to the NCAA tournament, and this would be 5 straight years in Wes in year number 5, and he's had an opportunity to get his own players in here. I feel like the school has invested the money. We went back to the Jordan brand. We're in a new conference. So I don't want to get too into that. I just want to keep things in perspective and understand where we are. The guy who gave me my first interview ever as a sports reporter, Mick Cronin, is now the head coach at UCLA, and he had one of the most hilarious interviews that I've ever seen, and I posted that on the site as well. But it looked like they want to run him out of Pauley Pavilion now, and I just want to say, if they do, Mick, you can always come home.
Yeah. I'll take him. I definitely would. I would take him, man.
And he won't do the Sean Miller, I don't think.
No.
As long as they pay him correctly this time.
Well, see, a lot of the times the crazy thing is, man, I think because the history, we all kind of know the history of the program, especially 90s up until when Bob was no longer the head coach, that Mick helped put all those teams together. So he was a major part of the success when Bob and stuff was here until, he took over. So he knows the city, he knows everything, he knows what it's about. And I wouldn't mind having him back. Heck, if Bob wasn't, kind of long in the tooth, I say bring him back. If it, health, permitting. But I think they need to bring in that type of caliber guy that knows where they've been and where they're trying to go. And heck, not to be funny, man, some of them UC guys should be tired of seeing this, man. This ain't normal.
Oh, they are. I won't mention any names because some of them want to remain anonymous and have ties still to the university, but I still talk to a lot of them. One that I know won't mind me mentioning his name at all is Tony Baloney, aka Tony Bobbitt, is totally fed up with the current rendition of UC basketball. But I heard T-Nail and a couple other people that have been on here talking about the negative Nancy's, and I'm not. At least I don't consider myself to be one. It's just the UC basketball that I grew up watching, and even as an alum who was donated time and money to that program, I'm just not willing to lower the standard. Me and Big John talked about it, even with Nate, as far as our expectations for Schroeder football for our alma mater in high school. And a lot of people will say things, and I'm making this parallel to UC. Sometimes let's talk about how times are different, and they are. Kids are different now, and what they want, and their motivations are different. But if you live through something when it was at its peak, or you have any hand in being a founding father or building it when it was in its golden era, the worst thing you can do is hear somebody tell you to lower your expectations.
Absolutely.
And I'll never do
Absolutely.
that as a UC basketball fan.
Yeah.
Not what I grew up watching. I will never lower my expectations is all I'm saying. So regardless of whether it's, West going forward or you do bring somebody in, as Cal says, sometimes to know where you're going, you got to know where you've been. If it's an Eric Martin, if it's a Nick Van Exel,
Mm-hmm.
somebody like that that live this and has a personal vested interest. And that's my thing
Right.
sometimes with my university is I think they get away from, even in their regular hiring for positions at school, they don't hire people that love the program, that love the university. They a lot of times they get people that it's just a job to them or a stepping stone opportunity, and that's why they leave for what they perceive to be greener pastures because they don't have that love and vested interest in it. Now
Mm-hmm.
I hear the naysayers. They say, "Well, look at what's happening at Memphis with Penny Hardaway." Well, you know, Penny was starting to do some things there too, and the NCAA cracked down, on him, and then maybe it didn't turn out the way that it was supposed to. But also, let's be clear about this: Penny don't need that job.
No, not at all.
You talk
No.
about one of the richest athletes ever that people don't talk about. Like Penny's gonna be fine with or without Memphis.
Yeah. I think Big John had made a comparison a while back, man, that some of these guys that were born now don't know about the Terry Nelsons, the Art Longs, the Terrence Gibsons, the Darnell Burtons. They haven't seen it. So they don't know the history of UC unless them guys is coming back to tell them, like, hey, man, we got to toughen up, man. We played a different type of style of basketball here, and y'all not meeting that expectation. Because if you wasn't born to see it, oh, that's hearsay. We can talk to you blue in the face, but it hasn't been where they were young enough to say, like, all right, UC made a run, UC did this, UC did that. Them kids wasn't born yet.
Yeah, we talk about that all the time with football too. John's beloved college football team just now coming back to relevance. We remember the Miami of old.
Yeah.
The players that we talk about, like I said the same thing, even as a Buckeye fan, like how could you not want to go to Coral Gables and play there? And then they
Mm-hmm.
have something that we don't have. Yes, they haven't seen it, but they got YouTube and they got every other,
Mm-hmm.
social media tool where you can go back. But I know they want to know and go where it's hip,
They
now. But
have to. These kids have to see you win.
yeah,
Yeah.
Even working with the kids I work with, if they're not naturals at something they do, they either pout or they don't want to do it. They don't want to work at it. So if they don't see you win and go to where you're winning, they don't want to, as they say, get it out the mud and build a team up and build a program. They want to go to a program that's already winning.
yeah. I mean,
So
that U swagger was something real. And even now, I think Cristobal coming back is another example of what we were just talking about. Somebody that was there when it was that, as
Yeah.
a vested guy who was a U guy himself. So he created a little bit of that mojo, but it's still not what we were even used to seeing. I look at a lot of people like Cal was mentioning. There's a lot of kids that know nothing about Nebraska football being good.
Yep.
and they never will.
And they never will, Father.
Michigan was in danger of being in that scenario also. Mike Hart was a long time ago.
Right.
Yeah.
They had an almost 2 decade fall off. There's people that don't remember Reggie Bush and Lindale White.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
But but like you said, but it's a reason why certain programs bring those guys back and they keep their legends intertwined. Whether it's y'all having Orlando Pace come to the spring game or come to different things like that, you have to keep that going. My U boys, they keep that. It's gonna be somebody that played down there
That's
on the
the
field
first
somewhere.
thing Big John said when he went to that one spring game with me. And Big Orlando Pace walked out of town. He said, "Bro, why ain't his jersey retired?"
That don't make no
Yep.
sense. And I get what you were saying about the Heisman candidate type thing, but you literally the greatest lineman probably in collegiate history and top 5 in NFL history. You don't have him in your ring of honor. That doesn't really make sense to me.
It doesn't. I just know what their thinking is, and I'm not defending it at all. Like the only guys who have had their jersey retired besides Bill Willis, the first African American at Ohio State, they all won the Heisman, up there. But John's argument was very much true when you look at Orlando Pace. As far as I'm concerned, I have him number 2 behind Anthony Munoz as the greatest left tackle of all time. Like he's number 2 to me behind Munoz. But people used to go to games to see an offensive lineman. You know how rare that is. We know that as football guys. And they put the little pancake up there each time he get one on the scoreboard, and then to be drafted number 1 overall. First of all, and I know it's happened before, he was a Heisman finalist
as an
offensive lineman. He went to New York.
Right.
And I think finished 3rd in the ballot. So I get it. Cam in the house, or was in the house, Cam said it's over for Nebraska.
It was over for Nebraska 20 years ago.
He said playing ass uniforms in the middle of nowhere.
Man, they couldn't get a resurgence even with Scott Frost. So
that's what winning will do for you. I don't think kids wanted to go to Nebraska back then when they was popping, but they was winning.
Yeah,
so
they was winning.
That, and as we mentioned many times before, college football was a lot more regional still then, and conference expansion has totally done away with that. Back in the day, if you was an elite prospect, we know what it was. On the East Coast, you probably went to Penn State or Syracuse, something, like that. If it was, down south, you had a couple SEC schools, but like for our age group, you were either going to Florida State, or Miami, maybe, LSU or something like that. If you were out there in the plains, Booby Miles and all them, you were going to Texas, Oklahoma, or Nebraska.
Right. Or even take it a step further. If you were from Florida, you didn't leave Florida. You stayed there. So for the most part, like if Florida made sure nobody could come in and take their guy, but now it's free for all. But then if you were from the state of Florida, you didn't leave Florida. You stayed right where you was at.
And we know what it is in the Midwest. If you were an elite prospect, you were going to Ohio State, Notre Dame, or Michigan.
Yep.
Pretty much they had that on lock. And I mean, and everything out west was pretty much, UCLA, USC, something like that. But USC has been so hit and miss historically. We got a couple runs under John McKay and Pete Carroll. And that's why when I throw my little jabs at people about, my state university, I'm being funny, but I'm being truthful. And somebody posted an article about that recently and was saying, like, whether you like them or not, Ohio State has been the most consistently good program probably that there is, dating back to Paul Brown when he was the head coach there. And that's really the reason that I tell people that is they don't miss when it comes to the head coach thing. That, and the state of Ohio is aware that, the economy itself here kind of depends on Buckeye, football, especially in that central Ohio region. We can't miss. We don't have beaches and other attractions and stuff, here, that's kind of what it is. But you look at since Paul Brown, they had one other coach in between there when he left, and then Woody came there. But once Woody got there, every single Ohio State coach, and I'm talking Earl Bruce, John Cooper, Jim Tressel, Urban Meyer, has ended up in the College Football Hall of Fame. We got a lot of other universities that their entire existence revolves around one, maybe if you're lucky, 2 coaches all time.
Yeah. I mean, other than y'all, I mean, that's really what it is. A lot of history comes between 2, maybe 3 if you lucky coaches.
Yeah.
At Florida State, it was Bowden and Jimbo. For us, it was Bush Davis, Jimmy Johnson, and Coker got that one with Bush Davis's guys. So You know,
I don't think USC recovered from losing from Texas. Once they lost to Texas and everything kind of flooded with all the removals and the wins they took away, they ain't recovered since they lost from Texas. They lost to Texas.
Well, you know what's funny is I thought about that recently and looked back, and I forgot how long Pete Carroll even stayed after that.
Mm-hmm.
What, he didn't leave till what, 2011 or something like that,
2011,
2012.
2012, yep.
You know, he was still there. I think they didn't recover because they lost, him. Now he probably saw this coming down the pipe and was like, nah,
Yeah.
I'm getting up out of here. I am glad they gave Reggie Bush his trophy back.
As they should. Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you could say whatever, but anybody who watched college football that year, we know who won the Heisman. Now I thought Vince Young was a close second.
Nah, the Prez was different.
Yeah.
To me, he was a
different,
close
man.
second. And he proved it in that national championship game. Now I was convinced when I saw him stare 105,000 people in the face at my state capitol and say, "So what?" and go out there and win the game. And that Cal, even though you're not a Buckeye guy, you like that linebacking core that year. The Slagle, Hawk, and Carpenter.
Like you said, when you football guys, there's certain things you got to, and I think that's what hurt my heart about USC the most. Like when I actually start watching them and seeing how small their defense is, I've never seen a SC defense. They like a high school defense. Like ain't no more. Like really, real talk. Ain't no more.
You ain't see no cushions and
Manalugas or Matthews is like, or Taylor Mazes. It just looked bad. Like how?
But you know what I learned even from losing to John's boys in the playoffs. Cristobal said it after the game. Mass kicks ass.
Yeah,
is what he learned from coaching under Nick Saban. When I got to even looking at Miami's offensive line versus us this year, I'm like, wait a minute, man. And we had some guys like Caden McDonald that wasn't small guys up front, but Miami was moving them off the ball. And Mark Fletcher was supposed to be a Buckeye, stayed down there at Miami, was running through tackles also. So it's just a type of physicality and a style of play that I know gives, and I hate to admit this, Ryan Day trouble. And there's only a couple coaches that have been able to kind of harness that. Michigan had it for a while. Kirby Smart when we played them, and now Cristobal twice at Oregon and the U. It's 2-0 against Ryan Day. But you also, it's not just a style. You have to have the athletes to be able to compete too. There's certain programs that you just have to have the guys to get it done. You can come with whatever scheme, and my Buckeyes are one of them. You have to have the athletes to do the scheme that you're trying to do. But I want to get into pro basketball, which we haven't talked about much this year, and then we can get out of here after that. Stephen A. has already jumped off the bandwagon of my beloved New York Knicks and said we're not going to the NBA Finals because we got thumped by the Detroit Pistons for the third time this year. Now, my only retort to that is the Detroit Pistons have made it plain since the summer before the season even started that their whole goal was the New York Knicks because of the Knicks knocking them out of the playoffs last year. And I'll give them credit. They're playing like it. They are the number one seed in the East. And when they play New York, Cade Cunningham has been ready for the New York Knicks. But I also made the comment that I could see them being one of those teams that is so obsessed with one team that it might be somebody else that knocked them out of the playoffs. But they are an exciting young group. And John kind of mentioned the changing of the guard in the NBA right now. My question is, does the NBA, in your opinion, have a face right now, a face player? And who would it be?
No, they don't. I mean, and it's crazy because they tried to give it to Edwards and he act like he don't want it and he keep getting into trouble. They tried to give
like he said he didn't want it.
He said he didn't want it. But a lot of guys say they don't want something at first and then they really do, but he probably really don't. They try to give it to Ja, but Ja can't stop being gang. So and everybody else, are either from Canada or Europeans, and they don't really care as much as Americans do.
Then you got the quiet superstar SGA.
Yeah, he Canadian, but he quiet, and I think he at his best he's gonna be a Kawhi Leonard type guy. You ain't gonna get 3 words out of him. So, but no, I don't think they do have a face. It could possibly be somebody that's shabby. It could be Cade. Cade may be that guy. Because right now I don't really see nobody else, and everybody else who was under them probably missed their window. They tried to give it to your boy in Boston, but he ain't it.
Now who's not to interrupt you, Big John? Who's on their phone or who's on a laptop?
I'm on a laptop.
Okay, because I want to give a shout out to John Morant because you wouldn't hear it if you're not on a laptop. Right. I was waiting for the right opportunity to put that in there.
That's funny,
man. Ja Morant had it, man. You had kids going out buying Ja Morant shoes, just like they was buying Kyrie's. They was loving it, but he can't stop. He can't help himself.
Right. I don't think they have a face right now in the NBA, but I will say that I think it may be transitioning to maybe not a face of the league, but maybe a team aspect. Because Oklahoma City embodies the team aspect. They won the championship with a bunch of misfits. And like, to be honest, they have a good conglomerate of guys that are from different walks, different ways, and they came together and won because of draft picks, everybody not signing a big contract deal, so you're able to bring in the pieces necessary to compete. And
they might have the best GM in the league.
He put together a very good roster, man. So if you look at they may not need a face. They may just say we're gonna have a team.
I said
team
that
aspect.
2 episodes ago when I was asked if I could take over a franchise, which one I would do, and I said them because they've put championship teams together. Now they finally hit, but they put them together. But I think, and I don't like this, if he stays healthy, Wemby could possibly do it, but that's going to be so weird having a guy that's not from America be the face of the NBA. I think
but it makes sense in San Antonio, man. They've gotten by off international players and
but none of them have ever been the face of the league. As much as we love Tim Duncan, he wasn't the face. He was one of the guys, but he wasn't the face.
He was close though.
Yeah, he went too far behind,
and his game was so efficient but boring.
Yeah.
The big fundamental.
The big fundamental.
Now, but Wemby's trying though. He actually made the All-Star game competitive, and was getting mad at people for leaving guys open and not playing defense. And I like Wemby's game. It's just what I worry about with him is he gonna hold up physically because a lot of guys that tall, those ligaments and feet when they get to really taking the pounding that an NBA career and schedule does, because one of the few guys that I did like from this newer era that still kind of kept it old school was Joel Embiid. And you see he's pretty much done because of the toll that it's taken on his body.
Funny thing, I was actually, because I've been watching YouTube because I work late. Bruh, I knew Yao was good, but I was watching a documentary on him, bruh. But Yao was a dog, man. If he hadn't got hurt, and they were showing him his first time ever playing against Shaq, him blocking Shaq shot 3 times, ended up scoring 21 points that game against Shaq, who people are terrified of.
Yao was something different at 7'5",
7'4" or 5. Yep.
And
he was Wemby but bigger.
He had a post game. He had a jump shot. Yeah, if those feet didn't crumble up underneath him, that was a problem.
Yep.
Bruh. And even the Olympics he played in, he was always top 3 in scoring in the Olympics. When you think about all the dream teams, redeemed teams, and he was top 3 in scoring in a lot of the Olympics he played in. I was a dog.
We had a few guys that were big men that couldn't stay healthy, and we didn't get to see the best of them, because from what I've seen, even in my research and even heard from people, his son plays in the league now. That's how old we getting, But they said Arvydas Sabonis was that dude.
Yeah.
back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Him and Vladi coming over here to the NBA kind of opened the floodgates for everything that we saw after the Tony Kukocs, the Petroviches, and all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Those first two guys, Arvydas Sabonis and Vladi, opened the door for what now we see with foreign imports, shall we say.
Yeah.
Well, I think just to chime in on that conversation, I don't think they do have a face. I don't know that they will have a face. I think what Cal said is more apt. We might start having, teams, organizations kind of lead the forefront. I think Sam Pritchie, I think is his name, the GM of Oklahoma City, deserves a lot more credit that he get. Because what did Full Force say on House Party? Yo, that's twice.
That's twice.
uh,
Oh,
the way he has rebuilt this organization. Because I'll be honest, I thought it was done after the whole James Harden, KD, and Russ. I'm like, they're never going to get that collection of talent again to come there, invest. Even Serge Ibaka, that they had there that was part of that group. I'm like, they're not going to do that. And he systematically went about just adding the right pieces, not a whole bunch of flash. As Kenny the Jet Smith will say, sometimes you just need the game, not the name. And
yep.
that's exactly what they did at Oklahoma City. And they finally got him one.
Yeah. Yeah.
and the versatility of guys they got. Like I like,
Man.
even though he built like a candy cane, Chet Holmgren. I like Chet. I think
Yeah.
he can play.
Yeah. They did their homework.
And who, to me, who really kind of has that positionless basketball team is Houston. Houston got 5 or 6 guys that's literally 6'11", 6'10", that can play 1 through 5. They can just roll the ball out there and play, but for some reason they just can't. They can't put it all together. But they have a team of positionless guys that everybody can play 1 through 5. They just can't get it together.
Yeah. I thought the trade they made for KD was kind of going for the gusto. I'm
Yeah.
not really mad at it. I mean, you get a chance to get a Kevin Durant steal at this age. Most teams wouldn't pass that up at this particular moment. But I was laughing about guys like him. Me and John talked about this off the air. I was laughing at guys like him and the Beard ending up 4 hours up the road in Cleveland. I don't know that I would have made that trade, honestly, because I started to look at certain guys, and after a while, the buck has to stop with you, right?
Yeah.
Like, it can't always be somebody else's fault.
Yeah.
I've looked at James Harden. I remember him specifically saying, "Well, I don't know how I fit in here or how to play. You don't know how to play with Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant.
Right.
You didn't like Chris Paul. Well, most people don't like Chris Paul, but." I thought Chris Paul had a great answer to that the other day. I forgot whose podcast he was on when he said, you know what I'm saying? People to be like, they don't like Chris Paul. It's like when I see him in public, they're like, oh, what's up, dog? Come up to him, whatever. I give Chris Paul a hard time because I just feel like he's that lovable loser. But when Boogie Cousins and Rajon Rondo don't like you, there's something to that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they about as real as it comes.
Yeah, that's true. I think, man, when it come to Harden, I think me and Big John talked about this a while back. He kind of give off that mellow vibe to me, man. He just want to hoop. He just want to hoop. He don't really care. He don't care about winning. He want to hoop and make money. That's really all he want to do. I don't think winning championships is his thing. He just want to hoop. He want to
hit
hoop.
a 3-pointer, do something
Yeah,
crazy,
and that's all he want to
gesture.
do. Yeah, we all. I mean, sometimes championships is cool. We as a society, we kind of make sure we put that as a standard when you get to talking about the GOATs and all that other stuff. But some guys just want to hoop, man. They just want to hoop, make money, and that's it.
I honestly feel KD felt like that too, but I think we put so much emphasis on you being one of the greatest of all time and you ain't won a ring yet. I think KD just wanted to hoop. I think he went to Golden State. All right, I'm gonna get this out the way so y'all can leave me alone. Yeah, like, I really feel like he did that.
Especially somebody as sensitive as him that actually listens to the noise and admitted to having burner accounts and stuff. And sometimes I'm so disappointed in KD because I'm like, man, if I was Kevin Durant, like 99.9% of what people said would not hold any water with me. Like, why do you
Not at
even
all.
care?
Not at all.
You Kevin Durant. Like, you
Yeah.
care way too much about what people think, bruh. That's just my opinion on him. Oh, news that recently came up in the last 24, 48 hours news circle. Um, an agreement was reached at the Ohio State University to bring Matt Patricia back as defensive coordinator. Most people didn't know that he wasn't necessarily a guarantee to come back. As
Yep.
football guys, what did you all think about Matt Patricia's first year at Columbus?
He did his job. I mean, with all the problems y'all was having on that side of the ball, he made sure he game plan. Like, y'all always had the horses, but I don't think y'all had the guy to put him in the right position. For the I ain't gonna say always, but here recently that was a problem. So now you got the guy that's gonna put him in the right position. He had a lot of good players confused, hitting them with that, some of them NFL defenses, Patriots defenses he was doing.
Yeah, because we know Arch never recovered after week 1. that totally threw a wrench in what Sark and them was trying to do down there at Texas. And I still said I thought Texas was one of the better teams in the country, even though they had, 3 losses. But I think, as my man Dan Orlovsky said, he was like, you know what happened that first game? He was like, he got Belichicked
Right.
with Matt Patricia's defense. No, I was really happy to see him come back. I like continuity, which rarely exists in college or pro at this point in society now. But I wasn't as down on Jim Knowles as some other people were. And I questioned too the Matt Patricia hire, but once it went down and I saw what he was doing and the guys really seemed to enjoy it, I was, full on board with what happened. Not sure what happened with Killer Cal exiting, but
even on back in. Matt Patricia has always been a great coordinator. And when he tried to get those head coaching jobs like in Detroit and different other places, he really wasn't it. But he's always been, when he on his side of the ball, he's always done a great job.
Yeah. So, you know what? Some guys, and we talked about this before, some guys are what they are. And you can't fault a guy for wanting to move up, a level and at least try to become a head coach or, step their game up and go to the next position. But I actually admire guys like Dick LeBeau or Norv Turner, and even they tried it. But after a while, they realized, you know what? Norv Turner's like, I'm a hell of an offensive coordinator. Dick LeBeau is like, can't many do it better than me as a defensive coordinator.
Right.
Sometimes you are what you are. And I miss that too. Guys that make their career as something. There's only 32 of those head coaching jobs in the NFL anyway.
Right.
You can't have all Chiefs. Somebody got to be an Indian at some point. Right. And something that we still didn't figure out, John, that we've been trying to figure out. We know Jake Reed was the 3rd wide receiver in Minnesota with Chris Carter and Randy Moss. Who was the 3rd wide receiver with Darnay Scott and Carl Pickens?
I thought it was McGee, but McGee was a tight end. But it was a guy that had an M last name. I cannot think of it.
Was you figured James it out? Hunt?
He was one. Was he the 4th? Was he the 4th receiver?
He might have been the 4th, like you said.
Yeah, it was a guy that had an M last name, and I want to say his number was like 83 or something weird like that. But we still ain't. We gotta go back and look at some old rosters or tape or something.
Yeah, I wish Cam was on here. He might know, one of these Bengals fans.
I used to play with him on NFL Game Day, so I knew the name, and Calvin probably know it if he ever come back to the podcast. I know he know it for sure.
I was one of the only people that was using the Bengals back in the day on Madden.
Oh no, I was using them, man.
I'm talking about Jeff Blake, David Klingler, Bengals.
Right.
Derek Finner, them Bengals. That's how you know I'm a real Bengals fan. Like, I'm a Bungles fan. I'm not even a Bengals fan. I'm a Bungles fan. Like,
bruh,
I grew up during the lost decade.
And I'm dating myself, but before I even knew not to use them, I was using them in Tecmo Bowl and games like that. So where Bo Jackson was unstoppable.
That makes me feel old that I can even remember playing Tecmo Bowl.
Man, me and Calvin used to
You
have
remember
so
Marcus Allen and Bo Jackson in the same
they was
backfield on that
unstoppable.
game?
Like, bro, they was unstoppable. Like, they did a thing on YouTube or some social media outlet where they was playing as Bo Jackson on Tecmo Bowl. They would just run around the whole field and couldn't nobody catch him. And he did it like 5 times before he scored. Like,
but you know who else was like that on Tecmo Bowl?
Who?
Walter Payton.
Right. Yeah.
The fact that we can remember Walter Payton and Willie Gold being on a video game, man. Yeah.
Bruh, I do you one better. Also playing on Tecmo Bowl, you got the Chiefs. You had Christian Okoye on there. And the crazy part about it is when you would play your season, you could not damn near barely beat the Giants with LT and Pepper Johnson and all them. I used to hate playing them.
Pepper Johnson. You know what school he went to. It always comes back to them Buckeyes, man. That just always. Now, man, I watch some of these old school videos on social media. It's actually fun to reminisce and think about some of those old games. But you and me both have been trying to get back into playing our current video game, the PS5.
I've been on it.
Man, I play Madden sometimes, and I'm like, bro, I used to love Madden 97 on Sega Saturn, and I saw somebody post Madden 97. It was either on Sega Saturn or PlayStation. I'm like, what the hell were you playing? At first, everybody was number 88. the graphics were horrible, and you thought they was great back then.
But even some of the newer ones, like I forget what year that Eddie George was on the cover, and it was another year. I think Ray Lewis was on the cover in 05. Even those, looking at some of those graphics, make my eyes hurt now because it's like we thought we had the best thing of the best in technology. Like, look how clear that is. Look how real they look. Nah.
But you know what? Sometimes I still prefer the gameplay from back then, like when we played back then. Like I said, the most fun when somebody posts those what if questions or what was, and they ask, well, what was your favorite video game of all time? I still to this day say Madden 97 because I don't think I played any game as much as I played Madden 97. I know I didn't even get Madden 98. I got Madden 99 and have pretty much gotten them all since then. I've taken years off in some intervals, but Madden 97, I played that for 2 years, bro. And I would come home from school or practice and after school program and pop that one game in and just could not get enough of that. I mean, but that's when I was really, and of course I still love the game itself more than anything on this planet, but that's when I was in so much love with NFL football, like anything NFL. Now I'm actually more of a college guy than I am
for me,
pro guy.
Even back then, I loved Madden and game day back then, but college football is my favorite video game, period. Like whether it's NCAA or Game Breaker, but I spent so many hours on NCAA making a dynasty and making my school better, and I would just get random schools just to make them better, like get Wyoming or Boise State before Boise State got good, or getting Idaho and making them good. Like I would do stuff like that. Now it took me a while because we were terrible, but yeah, man, doing that.
Harlem Nights took a while, but
recruiting and trying to get, and playing the video games, you had to talk to kids into coming into the school like, you good, but I don't want to go there. Like,
you know what, man? It's still that way.
Right.
And I was even talking to my mom about that. Let's see if Cal's back.
Yeah, he said his PC died. I told him to use his phone. There we go.
Do we have a picture of Cal?
Cal, you got your picture up? Can you hear us? Guess it's moving slow.
I'll put him back on. But no, man, I was even telling my mom about that. Like it's easy to do a dynasty even on the new college football with Ohio State, because I know I'm gonna get all the kids that I want to come. It's not an issue. If you do miss on a recruiting cycle, you got enough players there still to get by. I tried to do a dynasty with Syracuse because I wanted to bring back the Donovan McNabb, Dwight Freeney, Marvin Harrison, Syracuse.
Right.
See, there's a bunch of kids that don't know nothing about that
at all.
But I can't get. It's easier this year than it was last year because I think Fran Brown went 10-2 his first year at Syracuse.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still hard. It's like pulling teeth. Well, and it's really hard to get through that first year with the current players because they ain't all that.
Nope.
I'm like, bruh, like y'all don't remember Donovan McNabb at Syracuse though.
And, you know, we don't take the easy way out, so we put it on Heisman. So we try to go for the gusto off top. Yeah, you gonna get the Heisman treatment. Definitely.
Yeah. I went through that first couple weeks of recruiting, and then they opened last year against Tennessee, and I'm like, bro, I'm about to do a dynasty with Ohio State.
Right.
I was even thinking about bringing Florida State back because we obviously know what them knows were coming up. See, you were a Miami fan. I was like, yeah, and I'm still this way. It's Ohio State or nobody.
Mm-hmm.
But the only other programs that I ever really paid attention to and could kind of say I wish them well or was a fan of was Nebraska and Florida State.
Right. And even though Florida State is our rival, I never rooted for Florida State if they was playing against us, but I always wanted to see them do well. So when they did get to us, it would be a big game. But other than Florida State, I can say, and this is gonna sound funny, man. When I was a kid, I used to love watching Penn State. Like, I used to love watching Penn State when I was a kid. Like, you know, LeVar Arrington, Curtis Enos, Joe Jurevicius. I used to love watching Penn State.
Plain ass uniform.
Oh, the uniforms was terrible. But they played good football. The uniforms was terrible. But I would say this, they are the best looking terrible uniforms. For some reason, certain guys like Saquon and LeVar Arrington can make that jailhouse uniform look good.
They have a couple guys that knew how to wear the uniform. Michael Robinson,
right?
You know, especially the road uniform, the all white one. I do like that one. But Penn State was one of those teams that I had a love-hate relationship with. I wanted them to be at full strength to represent the conference.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, when we were kids, and I was talking to Charles and his son Travis about this, and like he doesn't know even the Penn State that we knew growing up. Right. You know, think about it. He was born after PlayStation 2 was invented. But we were trying to explain to him that, you know, Penn State used to be one of two schools that you could be worried about as an Ohio State fan. See, he sees Penn State now can't beat Ohio State.
Right.
It was almost the opposite direction when we were kids. Mm-hmm. Joe Pa and them had Ohio State's number for a while, and even the Michigan thing. I'm so glad that they ended that streak this year. But hey, we grew up during the John Cooper era. There was some lean times, brother.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I said even 4 in a row was like, it was irritating. It hurt, but I'm like, I've seen worse.
Right.
I've seen worse and lived it.
But that's like, it's getting a little bit better now with the parity, but that's when you had to prepare every week and have your chin strap ready. It wasn't, you couldn't take a week off, because if you take a week off or two, your national championship hopes are gone. Like,
that's a good point. And I think the college football playoff is doing the exact opposite of what people wanted. I'm gonna leave that there for us to come back, you know, next week and speak on that. But somebody was talking about that. There was an article I read where they were saying, I think the college football playoff is actually hurting college football. I'm like, well, there's no going back now, but
I agree.
Can say I told you so.
I agree, but I think this year, kind of showed that it is kind of helping a little bit. And I'm not saying that because my guys made it, but the fact that the seeding we got with the 2 losses that we had and to make it that far, yeah, that shows
that's the whole point that pissed me off is we almost didn't get Miami in, and they almost won the national championship.
And I think that's what they wanted the playoff to be, but you're not going to have that every year. Sometimes the big dog is just a big dog, and he's going to win. But sometimes you may get a 2-loss team and then come wreck shop. Now the old heads wanted to be Bama or somebody so bad, but it didn't happen that way.
My bad, fellas. Technical difficulties.
You look like you in LA or something. Like,
man, listen, man. Nah, I wish, brother. I would definitely wish, but I'm learning on the fly, man. Bear with me.
Yeah, we were ending on a cliffhanger, so to speak, where I was gonna tease them going into next week, where I saw a story where somebody was talking about college football playoff is actually ruining college football. At least one person's opinion. I thought last year's was better, and I'm not just saying that because Ohio State won, but this year I didn't think it was bad, but I understand why people could potentially say that because, like we were just saying, Miami almost won the whole thing and almost didn't get in.
Yep.
And Notre Dame, as I said, I still believe was one of the 12 best teams in the country and did not. Because now we got people trying to act like it's March Madness or be, as I said, fair, which there is no such thing. Football is a meritocracy or should be. And let's reserve a spot for James Madison and Tulsa. When the whole goal of this was supposed to be just the 12 best teams. The more you tweak it, and this is where I'll leave it and end this episode, the more you tweak it, the more problems it's going to have. Let it alone.
We gonna leave it at that one because I like the 12 team, but we could leave that to next time.
Let it alone. I know the Big Ten and the SEC was sparring about expansion. Let it alone because no matter what you do, you can go to 16, and we still gonna have 17 and 18 whining about not being in the play. Like, let it alone.
Right, I agree.
And everybody's thing was this anti-Ohio State guy. Well, if they didn't expand it, would Ohio State have been in it last year? I said, yeah, if you went to 8 teams like I said it should be.
Yeah, you got a point.
And they were number 8. But we'll leave it at that. I want to thank everybody who tuned in and did show up. You don't have to stay long. It all counts as views, and we appreciate it. Make sure you follow Factual Opinions on the IG page as well as the Facebook page. We're not really active on X, but we continue to post content everywhere. The audio, if you're an audio listener and you can't watch the YouTube at work, because again, Facebook is going to delete it after 30 days. The audio will obviously be up on Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. We're everywhere where we should be, so no excuses. Tune in, share. I want to thank Brother Cal for finally coming on the show.
Yes, sir.
Don't be a stranger.
All right.
And the Brown Bruce Wayne, Big John.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I don't know what's going on in the tournament with Nate, but I wish them well because they're not playing our Jaguars. So I hope him and
they playing they playing College Hill right now. Well, they was playing College Hill today, so I don't know the score, but that's what they had first round.
Ain't no Andre Evans out there. Brother Bill. We need to have Brother Bill back on here, man. I enjoyed that episode, but yeah, man. So everybody that's playing a tournament game, including our Jaguars, Brother Johnson, wherever you are, you welcome back.
He came up the west side today, so I seen him.
He ain't say that.
Now he talked to me. I talked to him. He was up there rapping the Stokes, trying to get film because I think they got whoever West High played. They got him in the first round. So yeah. I didn't want to bother him while he was preparing for war, you know, because he's still in the group chat, so I know he sees everything. Right. Yeah.
But we appreciate it, world. As always, you know, I'm gonna bite from one of my idols, the great Mike Wilbon. We'll try and do it better the next time.
Yes,
That's
sir.
it. All right, brother.